At a pitch-black depth of 130 meters underwater, a diver was struggling through a narrow rock crevice, when suddenly, a beam of light appeared in the darkness ahead. He swam closer to investigate, only to freeze in terror. A corpse was floating silently in the middle of the passage, blocking the only way out, and behind him, his teammate had already begun convulsing uncontrollably from fear. This was the Plura Cave incident, known as one of the darkest moments in diving history. The Plura Cave is located in Norway's central Plura Valley. The area is known for its unique landscape and extremely complex underground cave system. In February 2014, 5 elite Finnish cave divers arrived at Plura Cave. Their plan was to descend beneath the frozen river, dive into a 135-meter deep abyss, cross the entire cave system, and surface from the opposite end. To avoid stirring up silt, the 5 divers split into 2 teams. The first team, led by Patrick and Hutanen, entered first. The second team was led by Vesa, with Ari in the middle, and Kai bringing up the rear. At first, the 2 divers descended quickly. Everything went smoothly. After passing through a wide air chamber, they reached a narrow bend at a depth of 130 meters. Relying on his experience, Patrick calmly made it through the corner. But when he turned back, his teammate was gone. In the darkness, a dive light was shaking violently. Patrick immediately swam back and discovered Hutanen trapped inside a rock crevice. The cable of his scooter had become tangled, and his bailout cylinder was jammed tightly between the rocks. But the most fatal problem was this: he had panicked. At a depth of 130 meters, panic is almost a death sentence. Hutanen struggled frantically, his breathing completely out of control. Patrick desperately tried to free him, even shoved his own backup regulator into his mouth. But it was already too late. Because of his extreme breathing rate, Hutanen inhaled a lethal buildup of carbon dioxide. After several violent convulsions, he stopped moving. At the same time, Patrick's dive computer began sounding alarms. Because of the time lost trying to save Hutanen, their original 120-minute decompression schedule had skyrocketed to more than 400 minutes. If he stayed any longer, he would die there as well. In the end, Patrick was forced to abandon his friend's body and retreat alone. But the truly horrifying part was still to come. 2 hours later, the second team entered the cave, unaware of what had happened. They followed the route deeper and deeper. When Vesa reached the narrow bend, the sight before him made his scalp go numb. Hutanen's corpse was floating in the center of the tight passage, completely blocking the only exit. Behind him, Ari saw it too. Fear instantly shattered his mental state. His breathing spiraled out of control, and carbon dioxide rapidly built up in his body. Just minutes later, Ari also died in violent convulsions. Kai, who was at the rear, noticed something was wrong, and tried to calm Ari down, but it was already too late. By now, the cave had become a living hell. Ahead, Vesa was trapped by Hutanen's body. In the middle floated Ari's freshly dead corpse. Fear shot through Kai's body like lightning. He had no idea whether Vesa was still alive, and if Vesa was dead too, then the passage ahead was a dead end. Inside that narrow tunnel, there was only one way to survive: turn back. In his panic, Kai ignored the mandatory decompression stops and swam desperately toward the entrance. But when he finally reached it, the freezing temperatures had sealed the exit with ice. Using the last of his strength, he smashed through the ice layer and clawed his way back to the surface. Meanwhile, on the other side, Vesa was trapped with Ari's body blocking the path behind him, leaving him no choice but to continue forward. He desperately dragged Hutanen's corpse aside, trying to create enough space to squeeze through. After a brutal struggle, Vesa managed to force himself through a tiny remaining gap, but the delay once again caused his decompression time to increase dramatically. His remaining gas was no longer enough to support it, so he had no choice but to swim out of the cave as fast as possible. During the escape, he encountered the weakened Patrick. The two supported each other, and finally made it out alive. But because they had ascended far too quickly, without sufficient decompression, both divers suffered severe decompression sickness, and could barely walk. After the incident, Norwegian authorities quickly intervened. Due to the cave's extreme depth, narrow passages, and highly complex structure, officials concluded that any recovery attempt would be far too dangerous. The decision was made to abandon the recovery operation, leave both bodies inside the cave forever, and permanently seal Plura Cave, banning anyone from entering again.